Hello everybody. Today I was watching a video called How Does a Feminist Pray? And it's a video from TEDx in Bucharest. The speaker is Roxana Dumitrache, and she talks about feminism and her, I think it's her view of feminism. But some of the things she says are, I want to be gentle, are bizarre. And one thing, it's really absurd and outrageous, one thing she says, but I'm gonna comment on some of her ideas in a moment while watching the video. Cool. I hope you'll enjoy.
It is true that I'm a feminist and I have a bit more visibility than other women. So in a way, it's totally unfair that it's me standing in front of you and not another woman.
Why? That means you worked harder, you've made yourself visible, and an idiot from TEDx thought that your ideas are worth spreading. That's it.
Feminism is about and for voiceless women.
Feminism is about and for voiceless women. Oh man, you cannot bring everyone at the same level if they don't want to be brought at that level. Most of the countries offer men and women alike the same opportunity for growth and development, and the failure to do so will result in some form of punishment.
For those women who are systematically discriminated against, who live in fear,
For those who are systematically discriminated, who live in fear, who are reduced to silence, discriminated against how? Men and women have the exact same rights, yeah? Who live in fear of what? Being beaten, domestic violence? Well, men are the target of domestic violence as well. All you need to do is like file a complaint and everything sorted, well, more or less. Being or if you fear of being assaulted on the street, well, men face the same risks.
who are reduced to silence,
And finally, women who are reduced to silence. In an era where you can make yourself heard regardless of how stupid you are and how ridiculous your ideas are, you simply cannot say that. If you're perseverant enough, you will make yourself heard in a way or another.
who live in female poverty, and female poverty is more profound than male poverty.
For this is my favorite. For those who live in a female poverty, and female poverty is more profound than male poverty. This is fucking outrageous, and she doesn't even back this claim. She just throws it there like, oh, females suffer more. I can by all means believes that you are suggesting that men are just animals who cannot suffer more than like simply sensory suffering, which is like pain produced by a wound, and they cannot suffer from psychological damages and all that other complex stuff. And also that women are in a way superior, and that they can I don't know, they experience psychological pain in a more profound way that men do. This is just outrageous. I don't see how you cannot back such a claim.
We live in an uneven world, and the biggest difference, it's not between social classes, It's not between races. It's not even between levels of wealth or levels of education. It is still between men and women.
What? What about the slavery and the Holocaust? Can you even begin to compare the problems of feminism, which I believe has no room in a time and place where you have all the means necessary to develop as a human being, to the racial problems that ended the lives of millions of people? Fortunately, these problems were attenuated, and today we live in a bare society. I don't deny that it still has some issues, but the suffering you suggest women face is not one of them, or not the top one anyway.
We fail to understand that every single experience that we have is either conducted or shadowed by gender. Toys, for instance, create destinies. You wouldn't believe that, right? When we buy toys for boys, we choose strategy games, Lego, soldier-like toys. These are our expectations from gender. So we expect, on one hand, care, maternal values, and looking pretty from girls. And on the other hand, we expect competitivity, strategy, intelligence from boys. Aren't toys creating destinies?
Look, you have to understand that men and women have some major hormonal differences which determine them to behave in certain ways and value different things. So naturally, we do not force kids to pursue something different. I agree that in the case that a girl prefers strategy games instead of a fucking Barbie, parents should not interfere by regulating the child's behavior, the child's preferences according to their own values. In any case, if at an older age a woman decides to pursue values that are more masculine, she does have the opportunity to do so. However, it does depend on her and only her if she achieves that, or she moans about how society is unfair. I don't know about you, but I've seen so many women that are architects, doctors, soldiers, engineers, scientists, writers, lecturers, entrepreneurs that do the job as better as their male colleagues, and that receive the same level of appreciation, if not more.
What is also wrong is the fact that we use common expressions like you cry like a girl, you act like a girl, you run like a girl when we want to give boys a lesson. This is wrong on so many levels. Firstly, it disrupts the relationship between genders from an early age. And secondly, it creates patterns of discrimination. So what we produce are women who are fragile and men who are proto-misogynist.
As I've mentioned before, males and females have a fairly different hormonal profile that produces a certain kind of behavior. I don't say that our culture doesn't exaggerate certain gender-related traits in a very satirical way, but you shouldn't take that so personally and so in such an offensive way. Most of the time, it reflects reality. Women are more fragile than men due to their lower testosterone level that results in less muscle mass and less aggressive behavior. Does that mean it is bad? No, that's the fucking way it is. It's nature. That's how we are.
The world is uneven, also because school is creating what I called gendered minds. Mind is not a blank androgynous concept, it's either male or female. From my several interactions with high school girls, they confessed and they told me, I wanted to do robotics or electronics, but my professor told me to choose a girly domain.
Mind is influenced by our biological sex to a certain extent. You only have to look at the animal world to see that, and it is not that hard to observe a similar tendency in human beings. As for the case with the professor who told a high school girl to choose a more girly domain, kill that man with fire.
And one of my favorite quotes belongs to Madeleine Albright, who says, "There is a special place in hell for every woman who refuses to help another woman." Being younger and more optimistic, I have my own version of this quote. And mine sounds like this: there is a special, or there should be, a special place in heaven for every woman who is supporting another woman.
Does that mean that if I am a woman and I want to bring more women in the European Commission, regardless of their competency, and I am not suggesting that women are incompetent for such positions, but just to even the numbers with men, I should be supported by all other women? Mate, that's far from the equality that feminists these days claim to seek.
Women helping other women. This is feminism.
What is women helping men then? A freaking sin? Human beings should support each other regardless of their gender, age, religion, or race. Of course, if that does not interfere with the well being of other people.